Now with this question, we are given a graph, which is f. We're given another equation in a sentence here, which is g. And we're given a table, which is h. And then from these three functions, we're going to answer 6 questions here. So in order to compare these functions, because these questions are going to ask you to compare the 3 functions. In order to compare them, you have to put them all into a same context. So it could be a graph. You can make these all graphs. You can make them all tables. You can make them all sentences. And what makes most sense is to make them all graphs. So f of x is this graph. So I'm just going to label this. This is f of x. So that right there is f of x. My next one is going to be g. Well, if I follow what it says it's a square root function, a negative 3 a value, a lead coefficient. So if my lead coefficient is negative 3, doesn't that mean my a is negative 3? Okay, if I vertical shift up 4, doesn't that mean my HK is going to be a 4 there? If I horizontally go left 2, isn't that a negative 2? HK. So from this sentence, it's a square root graph, a of negative 3, and a coordinate of negative 2, 4, according to what this is saying. Could you simply plot this and use this to make a graph? Yeah. So let's graph this. Let's first find negative 2, 4. Negative 2, 4. And then what does a negative 3 mean right here? What does that negative 3 mean? It means I go over 1 and down 3. There's my next dot. And then I know it's a square root graph, so I know it looks something like this. And then I call that g of x. So I just sketched this graph. So I can compare now f and g a lot better. Next, I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to do it in red. So I'm going to do h of x. So you go one coordinate at a time, so negative 5, negative 2. There's a dot, negative 5, negative 2. Then you go negative 4, negative 1, which is a dot right there. Negative 1, 0 is right there. And 4, 1 is right there. And I'm going to call that h of x. So I now have all 3 graphs, and now I'm going to try to answer these questions. Now let's answer these questions using this graph. We put all these on the same graph. Which function has the largest x-intercept? So look at the x-intercept, x-axis. The largest x-intercept means the x, where it crosses the x-axis, the farthest to the right. So that one's at negative 2, that one's at negative 1, and that one's like a decimal negative. So wouldn't that be the largest x-intercept on the green? So that would be g. So the largest x-intercept's right there because that's the smallest, that's the medium, that's the large. Now the smallest y-intercept, look at the y-axis. The smallest y-intercept, well, that's the largest, that's the one in the middle, and that's the smallest y-intercept, so that's also g. Okay. Now on the test, be careful, they can make this the smallest x-intercept, this could be the largest y-intercept, so read carefully and mark which one it is. So, which function has the domain from negative 5 to infinity? So basically it's saying which one starts at negative 5 and goes on forever. Well, can you tell it's a red one? It starts at negative 5 and goes and goes and goes. So it's going to be the red one, h of x. Okay, which function has the largest average rate of change at negative 2 to 1? Now the largest average rate of change, what's that saying is it wants the steepest. Because when it says average rate of change, that's talking slope. So we're looking on the interval negative 2 to 1. So interval negative 2 to 1 is from here to here. So on that interval, negative 2 to 1, that interval right there from blue to blue, which graph is steepest? So on that little interval, if we look right here, which is steepest, can you easily see it's the green? Even though it's down, it's the steepest. So the answer is g of x. We're looking for the... First of all, we look at this to tell us where we're looking. So we're looking right here, and we look for the steepest. If I said the smallest average rate of change, I'm looking for the least steep. Next one, decreasing. Decreasing means which function's going down, dropping as you go. Basically, which has a negative a value. And you can hopefully tell it's the green one. So that would be another g of x. Hey, g of x keeps popping up. And the last one is you have to find 3 values and do the math. So can you look at the graph and find f of 2? Well, here's f. F at 2 is right there. So f of 2 is 2 minus g of negative 1. So negative 1, what's g? Well, isn't g the green? Isn't that right there? So that number is 1. So put a 1 right there. Next, h of 4. H of 4. So go to 4 right here, and h. H is right there. There it is. H of, that's h. H of 4 is 1. Now you do basic math. Now make sure you do order of operations left to right. So we first do this, and what's 2 minus 1? 1. And 1 plus 1 is? 2. So my answer is 2. You just have to look at your graph, find each individual answer, and add or subtract them up. Again, with this problem, you're comparing things, functions. On your test, you'll have even a fourth function, and you have to compare fourth with questions like this.